I wanna hold your hand.
Hey guys, welcome to our video today. It's been a while since we've done another sit down.
I've sat down a lot, maybe. Feels good.
We're not talking about toilet time. I'm sure as you were able to tell by the title, today we are talking about,
What is the title again?
Surprising facts about
me.
us.
Us. Me.
Some things that a lot of people
Don't know.
Ooh. You want to start? What's a surprising fact about you? I've written some down, but let's see if he comes up with some.
Can you write it down for me? Can I just follow that list? I don't know anything about me. One surprising?
Yes, one surprising.
One unknown fact about myself is that I'm about to name drop without dropping names.
Okay.
Let's see if people actually can get it right in the comment section. It was 2008. That's all you need to know. I've eaten breakfast with a sitting president. I've served the food, or at least at the party, of a to-be president at the time. I've also served food at the Secretary of State to-be at an event, and also in one failed presidential nominee for the Democratic Party.
If you know who the President of the United States was, you can put that down in the comments. But Pablo did have breakfast with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
It pays being a minority.
Yes.
And you serve food to somebody who did not win a presidential election.
And also somebody that became a Secretary of State. And I also told that person that I would never vote for that person.
Yeah, that person did ask, do I have your vote? Pablo's like, nope.
Heck no.
Nope.
And I'll say it again and I'll do it again.
So that's one fact about Pablo.
That was fun. It was very awkward for this person.
Since we're on famous people or celebrities, whatever.
Your hands are sweaty.
My hands are not sweaty. They had lotion on them.
Oh.
I have met Johnny Depp, the actor Johnny Depp. I'll put in some pictures here. I didn't actually pose with him because I was too excited in snapping his picture. We were living in Iowa. I drove to Wisconsin from some people I worked with, and he was filming one of his upcoming movies. So we stayed late, and he came and met those of us who were waiting. So that was
I was
fun.
on the road. I remember.
I think that's like the only famous person I've ever actually met. Besides Pablo.
You remember too? So this girl's a creep. When we started hanging out before dating, she already had pictures of me in one of her book journal photo
albums.
Photo album. It's kind of creepy because I remember we were just hanging out, right? Or we were dating. No, we were dating already a couple of months. And I'm going through her photo album just for fun, spending time together. And all of a sudden, I see a really good-looking Puerto Rican in one of the pictures behind a president of the United States again. And sure enough,
It was him. Before we met, I had a picture of him.
Stalker.
I wish I had that picture that I could show you right now, but it's back in the States somewhere in a photo album.
Stalker.
Actually, I didn't even take the picture.
That's even worse. She hires people to stalk me.
So the president was in town doing a speech, and I couldn't go. I had to work. I gave my camera back then
To a friend.
I said, can you take some pictures? She said, yeah, no problem. Obviously, I didn't know who he was at the time to realize that, but later it was quite funny. I'll go again, I guess.
Sure, why not?
I am a
Speak
published...
about yourself.
Yes. I am a published author, actually.
And a good one, too.
Actually, it was just a poem that I wrote in high school that got published.
She also has a book she's been writing since I've known her, and she should finish it.
No, 2011. I started it in 2011.
Since I've known her. But she hasn't finished it. She has a couple of chapters already written.
Oh no, it's already almost halfway done.
Oh man.
You haven't been up on it in a long time.
Okay, so maybe you guys should encourage her on the comments. Look at me dropping comments drops. To encourage her to finish this book because it's crazy cool. She kills me in her book.
It's a murder mystery.
And me is another person, but yeah. See, stalk her. For me, I miss Carolina's birth.
Yeah, we weren't obviously vlogging way back then, but he did not make her birth. They always say first babies come late, no big deal, and Pablo was We were going to be moving to Baltimore at the time, but we were currently in Colorado. So he was there working back in Baltimore. And my water broke a week earlier.
Yep.
A week early.
So it was a Saturday. I remember I was watching college football, and then you said my water broke, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I was boarding on the plane in Baltimore to Dallas, and as I was walking to my gate, I get a picture of beautiful little baby Carolina.
So thankfully, the lady we were living with at the time, she helped. I had a friend come out, I had a couple friends come too, so that was my support system. But so when I had Mila, I said, you are not missing this birth.
And then I got kicked out of the hospital.
Yeah, and speaking of Mila, if you guys haven't seen that video, I think most people probably have, but if you haven't, that's a crazy story we won't get into. You can go watch the video, but basically she was switched. They gave me the wrong baby.
See, that's what happens when I'm there.
They gave me the wrong baby, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a panic, and that was here in Brasov. Next one for me, I had never actually been in Europe before until we actually moved. So the first time I stepped foot into Europe was when we moved to Romania. So that was kind of crazy. Fun, but crazy.
One of the main sports that I actually did was wrestling in high school and college, and that was a lot of fun.
I'm gonna put a little picture of high school wrestling Pablo in right now. Isn't he cute? He's so tiny.
You just love shaming me online.
How is that shaming you? That's a picture of you
I
wrestling.
did not consent to that picture being shown to everybody.
Anyway, Pablo went to college for wrestling, and that's what he was studying. And then he ended up switching colleges, and that's how I met him. But he is a wrestler at heart.
More like a boxer. Wrestling was the only thing because I wasn't allowed to box.
Speaking of boxing, Pablo's uncle is a famous boxer from Puerto Rico. He was an Olympian.
He was an Olympian, yeah. Very good.
Very good boxer.
Very good boxer. My whole family has been involved in boxing, and they were all very good at the time.
I think I've mentioned this once before. I have never had a cup of coffee.
Oh, a cup of coffee. You had sips of coffee.
Yeah, by force, which I hate. No.
If you add them all up in your time, you had a cup.
Even those sips I've had, I have never had a cup of coffee. I hate the taste of it. The sips I've had, hate it. So I've never had that.
Speaking of coffee and old age, for what? It has nothing to do with that. I am 3 years older.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
I act more mature than this woman here, but I am 3 years younger.
Younger, there you go.
Than Miss Bethany.
Yeah. When I started dating him, he was still a teenager, which felt a little weird to be dating a teenager when I was 21. 22. I was 22.
22? No.
I was 19 and 3 years older than you. You were 19. I met you. You started dating. Turned 19.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Hold up. We gotta do the math real quick.
No, I was 18. 18. We're already, I turned 19 when we were dating already.
Speaking of when I first met Pablo when he was still a teenager, he actually didn't have his license, which I know is not a bigger deal over here in Europe, but in the States, if you're 16 and you don't have your license, it's kind of a big deal. So he did not have a license, and I actually forced him to get one. And since we're on that topic, so after he got his license, after I made him get his license, I had my parents' truck in town, and I was borrowing that. And he happened to take it home one night after he left my house. Since we didn't live together till we got married, I let him borrow my truck to go home, and I reminded him, as he left, I said, lock the doors.
And just someone out of nowhere just like tried to like
when he came to a stop, like a 5-way stop.
Yeah, like it just came out of nowhere, and like this guy tried to like.
You said there was somebody coming on your
on
passenger
the side.
side.
I looked, and yeah, I still remember it was like dark. Some lights weren't even on. It was like the perfect setting for a hijack.
Yeah. And scary situations. I had one of my own, but I used to give some plasma in college to make some extra money. Which is kind of silly thing, but I used to do that. And one day I was waiting for my turn to be called back to give the plasma, and I had to use the bathroom. So I went real quick, came back out, and by the time I come out, at my feet, there was a man laying on the ground, and 3 police officers were on top of him, trying to subdue him. And I was just like, in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, should I like kick him and help them? Good thing I didn't.
We're making this place sound like it was a horrible place to live.
It wasn't a horrible place to live, but I was just scared, just kind of, standing back, and then watched what happened. The guy must have been on some pretty strong drugs, we found out later, but he threw the police officers off of him. He grabbed one and like slammed him down on his knee, and you could just hear something break. And he grabbed one of the cops' pepper sprays and started spraying the whole place. So I run back to my seat, but by that time, the whole office, we were coughing and gagging, whatever, from all the pepper spray. I think they were finally able to subdue him, but what had happened was the jail was close by to the plasma center, and they were escorting him to jail. He escaped, and then he ran into the plasma center because he also used to give plasma there.
And that's how we met.
That is not how we met. Oh, that was you. So I still remember they still made us give plasma, right? So we're sitting there, they've got the windows open, but you got this needle in your arm, and I'm like trying not to cough. It was bad, but it was pretty scary.
Love at first sight?
No, Pablo is not that much of a criminal. Something else?
You have perfect teeth.
I have perfect teeth?
Yeah.
Thanks. Actually, I don't. I chipped this front tooth.
No way. I chipped this one. Did you know that? We have something similar. Oh, we should date and then we should get married and we should have 2 little girls.
Wow. So, yeah, my teeth are not perfect.
Oh,
actually, an ex-boyfriend of mine, he chipped it. Punched me right in the face. No, I'm just kidding. He did actually chip it though. I was taking a drink of water out of a glass and he was talking about something. He's like, boom, and the glass slammed into
You were
my
talking
tooth.
about something?
He was, and gesturing.
Oh. And
he slammed the glass into my tooth and it broke it. I'm directly related to one of the pilgrims that were on the Mayflower when they came over to the Americas.
Howdy, pilgrims.
Directly related. Our girls don't drink milk. I don't either. You don't either, really, unless you have cookies.
Cookies and cereal.
Yeah, but we don't drink milk. The girls have never liked the taste. I tried it as soon as I was done nursing them. I tried to get them onto cow's milk. Absolutely not. They both hated it, no matter what I tried. I think I even tried goat's milk for Carolina.
Nah.
Nope.
We don't need another mama's milk.
Gross.
Speaking of milk, here's a little known fact.
Pablo has tasted another woman's breast milk.
Hey.
It was on accident.
Hey. Hey. I don't even know what happened that day.
We were babysitting for somebody's 2-month-old, and they left us bottles and milk and stuff.
I think we're trying to figure out if it was warm or not because we had no idea.
Yes, you put it on your wrist, right?
And then I wasn't thinking. I mean, just like a 2-month-old, we're kind of like newlyweds.
Yeah, we didn't have any experience taking care of kids.
And I just had to I was like, oh, it's okay. And I'm like, wait a second.
Gross.
And I'm strong and healthy.
There's a couple other funny things that Pablo has done too. Surprising, weird, not normal things. Pablo has eaten the skin off.
No. Okay, I'm not a carnivore.
You are a carnivore.
I mean, I'm not a humanivore, whatever it's called. What is that?
A cannibal.
I'm not a cannibal.
Pablo has eaten the skin
The
dead skin.
Eat it off his body.
I will explain it. He's eaten the dead skin off my father's foot.
Not off. You're making it sound like give me your foot.
My dad had dry skin on his heels and was scratching it off one day. And later that night, it was around Christmas. Later that night, Pablo was looking on the ground. He's like,
no, I was eating the candy cane.
Yes, he was eating his candy cane.
And I thought a piece fell off on the ground, which I'm pretty sure it did.
And he's like, ooh, a piece of my candy cane. And he picked it up and he started eating it. Before he realized I lost it. I knew what it was.
Sure enough, it wasn't a piece of candy cane that fell on the ground. I'm normal and I'm a sane human being.
Just a couple more and then we will wrap it up. For those of you who don't know, I was actually homeschooled. I was homeschooled from 6th grade to 12th grade. Shut your mouth, Pablo. That is why I also choose to homeschool my girls.
I'm sure you guys can tell that I'm homeschooled, but I'm homeschooled.
Wow, stop. So I know there's been a few people concerned about the girls homeschooling and their socialization, but
as you should be.
I can assure you they are just fine.
They're not. Help.
For those who might be newer subscribers, newer viewers, Pablo actually toured as a musician for quite a long time. with not just his band, The Ineloquent. You guys toured for several years. I even got to tour with them for several years as well. But he's also toured with other popular Christian artists as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully maybe you learned something new or crazy, or maybe something you didn't even want to know, more likely, about us. If you have any other questions, put them down in the comments below and we'll see if we can get to them and answer them as well. But thank you guys so much for watching.
Don't forget about that book that she's writing.
Yeah. And we will see you next week.
And don't eat anything that looks like candy cane off the floor.
Bye.